For October the 24th, 2014, we talk about the Paranautical Activity controversy, the Silent Age Episode 2, and we ask you about bundle games. Welcome to the 80th level. My name is Kole Rouse.
I'm David Meismith.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. As you heard, Dennis is not joining us tonight because of a last-minute baby emergency. I assume he was a fussy boy. Oh, yes, a fussy boy. Sorry,
maybe he was just referring to Jenna's baby. Like, it's my baby emergency, you know, whatever.
as you do. Yeah. So we're flying at Threestyle tonight. Yeah, Threestyle. There we go. That's a thing people say, right?
They do now.
Okay, cool.
Trendsetter.
Yeah. Man, we're starting early with the titles. Man, maybe. Portland was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
What a lovely city.
I know. Had you been before?
I had not.
Yeah, I had been before 3 times. What did you think of the show?
The show being the karaoke show or the Portland Retro Gaming Expo?
Well, I will take your thoughts on either.
They were both fantastic.
Yeah.
I will save one of my highlights of one of those for what I have been playing.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
You guess which one. The answer is exactly what you think.
Okay. I'm actually drawing a blank, so I'll be curious to see how this pulls back. Did you end up buying anything at the show, Ben?
I don't think so.
No?
Which I'm kind of sad about.
Oh.
Because there's a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing that I saw is the artwork that they did with beads. And I think WAF had done a couple of these as well.
Oh, the Perlers? Yeah.
Yeah. But one person had done it in a framed picture, and it was like 3-dimensional, where there'd be a background and there'd be characters in the foreground.
Yeah, those people are sorcerers.
Looks pretty awesome.
Yeah,
man.
like making so perler beads. You probably played with them when you were little, like those iron fusing bead kind of things, except doing pixel art with them. And there's kind of been this evolution, and then there was a glut, and then everything is kind of paring back of perler art at the booths at these places. And these people, they kind of make these shadow boxes of like vignettes from different games. They'll be like, oh, here's the full cast of Chrono Trigger, or here is Ken doing his Dragon Punch or whatever, right?
Yeah, bookshelf units where Ken and Ryu are doing the fire punch in both directions to hold up the books.
They might have sold it, but they had one that I think was a $3,000 piece, and I'll try and dig up a link to this for the show notes. But it was a $3,000 piece that was Final Fantasy IV. That one with the 4 fiends, and it was like a full scene with the 4 fiends and your final party members, and I think it might have been like 3 feet by 4 feet long. It was absolutely massive, and for the longest time it was their showpiece, so I can only assume it either broke or somebody bought it. And what upsets me is that somebody was not me. Not that I would have spent $3,000 on it. I was waiting them out.
Waiting for the price to drop.
Yeah.
But I also thought the Watch Out for Fireballs booth was lovely as well. I got to play Kole in Street Fighter,
and you beat me
one time. You beat me like 2 times though.
Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot about that.
What are your respective characters?
Go ahead,
They
Ben.
changed. I was Blanca one time, and that's his name, right? Blanca.
Yeah. Green dude. Yeah.
And I was Bison one time. But yeah, no, the time that I beat you, my handicap was way up.
Oh, yeah. I based on how that weekend went, I just assumed everybody beat me. So
you were holding your own, dude.
Yeah.
You shouldn't cut yourself short. You were doing good.
Yeah, I play as Ken, David.
Okay.
Yeah, I just that is the character that I practiced with, and so I felt comfortable with him in many situations. Yeah.
And see, since he knew a special move of Ken, that automatically made him better than 50% of the people who play that game.
What is the special move?
Well, David. Yeah.
Huh.
You should insert a sound effect right here.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me how to edit this show.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, there's like the fireball, like the downright forward, punch kind of thing. It's Street Fighter, It's it's Street Fighter.
Yeah, he's got a couple.
Yeah. That's it. By a couple, there are 3. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I'm not okay. I'll just sit here and read the entire move list of Ken from Street Fighter.
How did the
Cool.
live podcast go?
It went fantastic. Yeah. That's going to be going up sometime, I think, in mid-November.
Okay.
Just due to the way our schedule is working, and it's a little bit involved to edit that because we got a bunch of responses from everybody. We were talking about Street Fighter 2, but I would say we had somewhere between like 50 and 75 people, maybe.
Okay.
That might be a generous estimate. Every crowd, I think, looks about 4 or 5 times as large as it is. So I got a picture. I got a picture from that. Yeah.
We can count it up and confirm later.
Yeah, yes, we can. We can get a head count. But it was it wasn't a packed house, but it was pretty full. Maybe 50. Yeah, that might be a little bit generous. But yeah, it was enough to really make us feel loved, and I'm really happy and thankful for everybody who came out to it. I'm sorry that you weren't able to make it, Ben.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Flights.
Yeah.
Flights.
I thought it was on Saturday.
Yeah,
Stick to the plan.
I thought it was on Saturday too, but they changed it up at the last minute. I wish they would have told us soon enough so I could have informed your travel plans.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh well, yeah,
Still had a good time.
yeah. But it was good. It was definitely a bigger show this year. I didn't buy too much. I replaced my lost copy of Clock Tower 3, which I lost to an ex-girlfriend, and I also I bought a pin and a sticker that identifies me as a member of gaming's feminist Illuminati.
I knew they existed.
Yeah, confirming it. Yes. So that was cool. But I got to meet a lot of really cool people, and it was a good time.
I will say too, the head crab hats were quite endearing. I had not seen those before.
Yes, they were quite gory, much gorier than the game, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for coming. I'm proud of you for singing at karaoke, Ben.
Yeah, who knows what you can accomplish when you drink 5 beers quickly.
You can accomplish singing the Pixies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found my new jam. This year, I think.
Which one?
Hush by Deep Purple.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, well. So
I was happy.
Go ahead.
I had forgotten about the ending part of the Pixies until it happened, and so I was happy about that. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. Now this is I'm happy giving this place a plug. This is Voicebox Karaoke in Portland. It's private booth karaoke that is staffed by like really nice people, and they have disco balls and stuff inside the rooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the cool part is how you can go on their website and have a song be requested for your room, so you can just do it on your cell phone. Mm-hmm. No hassle.
Yeah, no walking sheepishly to a middle-aged man with a folded slip of paper,
sliding it cautiously over to him.
Yes, across the soundboard, and yeah, it was good. David, how are you?
I'm doing fairly spiffy. I think I have at least a moderate amount of spiff.
Nice. Cool. So I guess I'll leave it at that. And let's go into the show proper. So we've got a normal one for you. We're going to be doing some current events.
Way to sell it, Cole.
Yeah. No, it's not a weird one. We did a weird one last time. Now it's going to be a normal one.
All right.
Yeah. No, it's going to be the usual brief multiplayer grind. Yeah. So let's do that. I didn't realize. I never
realized that either.
I never said it. I never said it all in a row.
I feel so cheap now. All right.
Yeah, we've been doing this for like 2 years. Oh,
Dennis was the one who suggested to change the order.
Yeah,
he knew.
But then brief grind multiplayer. Even still, it's the grind. The grind is the bad actor in this equation. It's time for the brief where we talk about games that we've. God, I did that last week too. It's time for the brief where we talk
games that we've been playing,
where we talk about games and news and stuff that is happening right now. Yeah, it's our news segment. Do you guys mind if I volunteer a story?
Go for it, unless it's mine.
Well, we'll find out here in just a second. It's heartening because the death threats aren't just coming out against women.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Yeah. So there's a guy, his name's Mike Malbec, who developed a game called Paranautical Activity. They talked about it on an early-ish episode of Check It Out, Comrade. I can't remember how they felt about it. It looks like it looks like a Doom game, like a procedurally generated Doom game. So this guy, he was really happy because it was, being featured on Steam, and they got out of early release or early access or whatever that is, and except no, he's not happy. Because on the sale page on the main store, it was still listed as early access, which he took umbrage at. And he took so much umbrage that he proceeded to throw a tantrum on Twitter, culminating with, let's see here, I am going to kill Gabe Newell. He is going to die.
Whoops.
Uh-oh. Yeah, sorry. Actually, no.
You made a death threat.
Yes, you done made a death threat online. I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to kill Gabe Newell. He is going to die. And so, not recognizing that it's not a right to be on Steam, but something they let you do. His game was pulled from Steam, because he done fucked up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had lashed out at Steam before, calling it an awful fucking monopoly and calling them incompetent. Like, he has kind of just always been on the edge about that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm in no way advocating for death threats. To be fair, this was a game that pretty overtly got screwed over by Steam's system.
Well, so by screwed over, do you mean it was fixed within an hour of him calling it to their attention?
No, this was the game that was one of the poster childs for the problems with Greenlight, if I remember correctly, where basically it was something along the lines of it was going to get greenlit, and then they got a sponsor, and so then it got a sponsor that already had gone through greenlight, so that they could get it on Steam right away. Yeah. And then Steam kind of arbitrarily decided, oh, that's not how we want the system to work, so you can't be on Steam anymore, and I think also maybe wiped the original Greenlight, stuff like that. So there is some prior history with this that would explain why he would at least be upset with Steam or Valve as a company. Well,
so that gets to another issue, because Valve has kind of messed with with Greenlight over the length of its kind of tenure of existing, right? Over the length of its existence. So my version of that story that I heard was they were on Greenlight, but it wasn't being greenlit fast enough because they didn't have enough support, right? It was going to get there eventually, but they weren't getting all of this stuff. It wasn't so much that they got a sponsor, it was that one reached out to them, and Valve's line on this actually makes a tremendous amount of sense to me, which is Greenlight is something about the community, and we don't want this to be a situation where Greenlight becomes a menu for predatory publishers to come in and snap up all of these all of these indie devs. That goes against the spirit, and actually against the better interests of these developers from Valve's point of view, and I would actually agree with that as well, because if that is the case, I could see some people getting duped by unscrupulous publishers.
True. I think that would be fair for them to have then made that a policy. I don't think it's fair to then say, and therefore we're going to mess with a deal that's already gone through.
Yeah, I could see that, but they're right in that it is a monopoly. One of the follow-up tweets after he's like, no, I didn't mean it. I totally didn't mean it when I said I'm going to kill you. It's like one of those funny jokey death threats, right? Was don't worry, guys, we sold 12 copies on non-Steam platforms today, which is enough definitely to pay for his 4-man team. They were also pulled from the Humble store because the Humble store primarily deals in Steam keys, right? And so kind of the way that this has ended is this, this guy, this lead developer, Mike, has sold his, shares in the developer, in his own company to his partner, and stepped down with the hopes that they can get reinstated back onto Steam so that they can make money off of this game that they spent years and years developing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I would assume they would be able to.
I mean, who knows how much of a grudge they're going to hold? Like, I don't know what would be right after this. Like that.
I would say I think if Steam kept them off, they would be in the wrong.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Just everybody be cool, man.
Can everybody just fucking chill out for like a second?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's nice to see some kind of consequence.
I don't know. I sort of feel like this was maybe a bit. People say dumb stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure this is in the same league as. I feel like there's a difference between, vaguely saying something on Twitter and like. I don't know, like the things that happened with was it Gamersgate, stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely has a different character. Like they are not, treating. He did not treat Gabe Newell like Brianna Wu, right? Like it was not, right. Extremely specific, but in reality, like the stance that we have to take is that all it takes is one lunatic.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Like if I hate to pull out the categorical imperative here, but like I don't know that I want death threats to just be like a boys will be boys kind of thing. People are going to say stupid stuff, but like in no other industry and no other business would that actually fly as like a nobody would continue doing business with this person.
The alternative is if in something like this, where I would argue it was basically a rather trivial thing, if people perceive that that's what the issue with, say, like Gamersgate is, I think it then makes people more likely to dismiss more legitimate examples of threats and things like that.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think that it is a cry wolf kind of thing. I really don't. I don't think that there's any such thing as like fatigue around that. I mean, you can get tired of hearing it, and you can get tired of it being normalized, but I don't know that you can. I don't think that this trivializes like any threats that might have come from a more venomous position. Yeah.
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe don't ever do that kind of thing, like everybody. Like
yeah, I mean, definitely it was a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. You can't go around. Like it's it's business, like it is bad business practice to throw a fucking meltdown on Twitter, and it is definitely bad business practice to say you're going to kill the person who owns the store that you sell your thing in. It wouldn't fly anywhere else. It really truly wouldn't.
Yeah.
And there's no reason it should fly here.
They should limit tweets to like 6 characters now, so that way you could never get a death threat in.
All you could type is just fuck space the letter U. Fuck U.
Yep. But you could never say who it's to, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's just everybody.
No
Yeah,
specifics.
but the problem is that tweeting at someone doesn't count as the character count.
Yes, it does.
Pretty sure it didn't. It didn't when I was parsing tweets.
Huh. I really believe I know that it totally does. At symbols and hashtags and all of their associated metadata.
I think though, like the people you tweeting back to someone, the actual tweet back is a separate field.
I mean, maybe that is parsed
That's
out.
Either way. This is not the podcast about tweets, I guess. So
let me see here. Yeah, I just composed a tweet. It totally counts against it.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
So who else has a story they want to do?
Sure. I've got something actually relatively trivial, but I just thought it was kind of cool. And if my computer would actually work, I would post it to the thing. Just kind of a silly story on Joystick where they took fighting game backgrounds and took out all the fighters, all the people, and just have the background.
Okay.
Showcasing the art, or alternately making all fighting games look like some kind of creepy, like post-apocalyptic countryside. So, yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And one other just equally trivial thing, just because I feel the world needs to see this. Apparently, someone got the guy who does the announcer for Super Smash Bros. To sing the Pokemon theme song, and that makes me happy. So,
well, all of these will be in the show notes.
Yeah. So sorry. I've kind of been too busy with life for actual news, so this is just things that have made me smile.
Yeah.
It's a nice change of pace from the first story.
Yeah.
Now, these sweet but salty.
Don't threaten to kill the announcer to Super Smash Bros. Please.
So here's something. Here's something I have to throw out to the group real quick, as a matter of semantics. This is the only venue in which I have ever heard anybody so consistently refer to Super Smash Brothers as Super Smash Bros. Like, I understand how that is how it is stylized on the title text. However, it is also stylized like that on Super Mario Brothers, but I don't hear people refer to it as Super Mario Bros. I tend to let it go without comment because I don't want to be that much of a pedant. I like to cash those in places where, I like to cash in my pedantry coins where it matters more. But I guess I'm curious as to the provenance of that here on this show.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even get to that point. You just say, want to smash.
Yeah. Let's
say,
go,
yeah, bro.
Let's go get smashed, brother. It's weird that you won't say bro. You take it all the way out to brother.
Brother Mario. No, doesn't like in game, doesn't the announcer refer to it as Super Smash Bros?
I couldn't tell you, but I can just tell you from most other places where I hear it spoken out loud, including on other podcasts where everybody is making a real effort to call Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 3DS Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 3DS. I would think that that would factor in. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It sticks in my mind that, like, at the beginning of the game, like, the announcer at some point, like, just shouts the name of the game, and it sticks in my mind that it used bros. But maybe I that could be something that, like, I'm totally wrong on, and I'm just, like, that's how I've always pronounced it, so that's how I remember it.
Yeah. Well, Super Smash Bros. Is a thing, except everybody's final move is a keg stand. Don't reward me for that. That's such a cheap joke.
Yes, but it gave me the image of Pikachu doing a keg stand.
Oh, so we all win.
Captain Falcon with popped collars.
Similarly to something that made my day earlier in the week is there's a discussion on our Facebook group that got into Digimon games and the fact that they're no longer brought over the U.S. because, quote, Digimon got curb stomped by Pokemon. Yeah. So I now have an image of, Pikachu curb stomping someone, and that makes me smile.
Well, no, Digimon didn't thrive over here because literally every piece of Digimon material was confiscated by a middle school principal.
Yeah. See, I always wondered, which came first, those weird little virtual pets or, the, all the, anime and...
we got the virtual pets here first. It was part of the the Tamagotchi craze. I'm not sure what happened first over in Japan.
Yeah,
I still have mine. Actually,
your Tamagotchi?
No, my Digimon.
Oh,
yeah. Which I assume it's worth some money, but I don't know. Hey Ben, you got a story?
I do.
Cool.
Do you want to listen to it or talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do that. So yeah, I thought you were going to snipe this one, but something I'm excited about. So they leaked footage of Star Wars Battlefront III. And the footage really doesn't give you anything beyond what the previous two games were, but it's just cool that it's going to be a thing, I guess. In the current video, it shows kind of like a map with a whole bunch of heroes on both sides and some droids and minions running around. And I didn't see any territory control, but I'm sure it's in there. But mostly it was just a video of Leia running around and shooting Darth Vader and other people. However, one part of the video is pretty cool. It shows a menu where they're choosing which character to spawn as. And you can be Lando Calrissian in this game.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Yeah. It's time. Yeah.
Finally, my video game characters can be as cool as I am.
Yeah. So I'm just cool. I'm just glad that this is going to be a thing. Hopefully it will be just as fun and as addicting as the previous two games, but we shall see. The maps look pretty cool, I guess, but don't see anything as far as vehicle gameplay or anything like that. So yeah.
Let's give some historical context here because I'm a little bit confused. So the video that I'm seeing is from where I thought it was from, which is the canceled version that was being developed by Pandemic. The one that was due for release in 2007, but then got canceled by LucasArts. And so even though Star Wars Battlefront 3 is due to come back, being developed by DICE for EA as part of the Lucasfilm's deal with EA and Disney. Sorry, Disney's deal with EA. This actually is from a much older version of the game.
Oh, really?
Or even a version of the game that does not exist anymore. Yeah, the video I'm watching right now. It appears. I don't mean to blow you up. I don't mean to blow up your spot, Ben. But it appears to be from a pre-alpha build of the original game.
So the Leia footage is old footage, then?
Yes.
Oh man.
Sorry.
My news is not news.
Well, no. It's new insofar as this is the first anybody has seen of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still happy that it's coming out.
Yeah. No, it's good, and it's gonna be DICE developing it.
I just don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah. It'll probably look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys want to do multiplayer?
Okay, I checked. I was wrong. The opening to the game does call it Super Smash Brothers. So apparently I just, don't have, ain't nobody got time. Well, by which nobody, I mean apparently me and Ben got time to say brothers.
To say the full word. To say the full word out loud.
Well, when you search for it too, Super Smash Bros comes up before Super Smash Brothers.
It's stylized like that because of Super Mario Brothers.
multiplayer.
It is now time for the multiplayer section where we engage with you, the listeners. Dennis put this question out here a little bit earlier today. Are there games that you otherwise would have missed, that you discovered because they were part of a bundle? Namely, are there any games that you only played because they are part of a bundle? What's been the biggest surprise? Answer by 9:30, etc. All of that administrative stuff. Yeah. So bundles, they are a real force in the economics of games now, and some people find things out through them. David, what does Glenn say?
Glenn says, I picked up Gone Home on a bundle. It wasn't on my radar until I got it as part of a bundle. That game has some of the best storyline I've seen in a game, and I never would have experienced it without that great service.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it would be a real shame to miss Gone Home. And it was kind of a really big deal when they put it in there for the Humble Bundle. Yeah. Let's see here, Ben. What's Sam say?
Sam says, I usually don't bother with bundles. I keep up on indie games enough that if one's less than $5 or so, I just buy it when it comes out, and buy a bunch during Steam sales. The couple indie bundles I've bought have been pretty much all duds. It's worth mentioning that I kind of hate puzzle platformers, with only a couple of exceptions, and I have yet to play a commercial roguelike that's better than the free open source ones. Haha.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think that's basically my stance. I don't really do much with the bundles just because the type of games that tend to be on them tend to be genres I don't care about, specifically roguelikes, puzzlers, and platformers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's definitely a bad restaurant to be in if you don't like that particular flavor. Yeah.
Right. Although I did really like Cave Story Plus. So
yeah. Oh, there you go. I mean, did you play that before or after the bundle?
After the bundle.
Cool.
So
there you go. That's your answer.
I would say, even though because I don't have a controller, I've not actually played them. I'm a big fan of Shank just for kind of what it is and the way its gameplay is and its storyline and stuff. So there are games in there I'd like. It's just overall, it's not exactly my thing.
Yeah. Huh. Let's see here. Dan Craig writes on our Facebook wall, I haven't gotten into the habit of buying games in bulk. Like they're corn chips. I have had friends gift me games that I otherwise would have missed, and I've gotten into that habit too. The habit of having things given to you. Sorry to keep interrupting you, Dan. A friend gifted me Cave Story and a first-person shooter called Rack, which I otherwise would have missed. Yeah, Cave Story pops up on there. Yeah, that is that's the original indie game. One of them, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is Rack? I'm actually looking that up one moment.
I have no idea. I'm looking at my Humble Bundle acquisitions, and I don't think I have it.
I saw this list. I never actually looked into it, but I saw it, come along the Steam feed.
Oh,
interesting.
Like the new interface that shows you things you would like to play.
Yeah, actually, I think this was one pre-recommender say. But yeah, it looks kind of like the aesthetics are very, very Doom inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Although it looks like it's actually like a modern game as opposed to being like a throwback sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that the most notable game like recently that I've played. So here's the thing: I've been buying Humble Bundles since the beginning. I'm looking at the ridiculous number, like we started talking about, like how many years ago, back on the original run of this show, like on Bearcast Radio at the University of Cincinnati.
Hipster. Oh.
What's that? No, I don't mean to be hipster about it, but like I remember like talking about this thing on college radio when it was this like blows my mind. Like on the first, on the first bundle that had like Penumbra in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like so it's hard for me to say because so much of my Steam library is made up of stuff I otherwise probably would have gotten, except a lot more expensive. per game, right? But like recently, Thomas Was Alone. I got that as part of one of the bundles, and that's a pretty cool game, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, part of me feels I think it's good overall, but part of me feels a little bit sad that they've kind of started with like the weekly bundles and the store and stuff like that. Because I remember when there was like a handful of humble bundles a year, and they were actually news, because they didn't come around that often. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing that, in my opinion, makes it less special is the fact that there is so much kind of like repetition. Like it's a little bit of a bummer to see a bundle where I want 1/3 of it, but the other 2/3 I kind of
already have.
Yeah, that I already own. And I'm looking at this huge list of unredeemed Steam keys right now that I should probably like give away. Like I'm talking, if I highlight this, we've got like 3 pages of unredeemed Steam keys. So, but yeah, I think there's a degree of that. However, it wouldn't be around. And okay. So this could be entirely wrong. My estimation of this is developers probably wouldn't participate in this if it wasn't profitable for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And so, like, for as much as I kind of disagree with the general kind of depression in value, like, oh, if this thing costs more than $5, I don't really want to buy it. Like, I think that's kind of a bummer. Like, the fact that they are circling back and offering these, some more, just does more to get good games into people's hands if the bundles are good,
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I think the way they're doing it is a net good. It's more just like, in terms of just kind of the Humble Bundle itself being fun. Yeah, I remember... it kind of being fun, like, who was it? Is Notch and someone else that, like, on several of them were competing for the first spot for, like, most donated and stuff like that. That's just kind of fun.
Yep. Yeah, but it's turned into something else.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
I do like that they've started including music with it a lot. That's cool feature.
Yeah. Music, and then they pretty much always have a books bundle happening as well.
Yeah.
Ben, what does Phil say?
Sorry, I've been looking through the collection that I've had on Humble Bundle, so I've gotten sidetracked. Phil says, I buy the occasional bundle. There have been several times where I've seen a game on Steam sale that looks really good, go to the page, and I find out I already have it, thanks to some bundle. I think the biggest surprise before me was VVVVV. It reminded me of the old Commodore 64 game I used to play. Simplistic in design, but wonderfully executed.
Yeah. VVVVV pretty much always pops up, and it's a really good game. Yeah, that is a problem that I have, Phil. Don't worry. I oftentimes just stumble across stuff because, like, I will just go through my Steam library and, like, categorize stuff. Like, the uncategorized part is just where, okay, so when you buy something, it automatically just goes into games, right? And then I filter them by genre, and I'll just go in there and say, when did I buy this? I don't know why I own this thing. Yeah. Yep. There we go. How about you? So you're in a little bit of a unique situation, Ben, right?
Yeah, where it's like, I'm going to play these one day when my computer is good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of going through the list, I got World of Goo on the Humble Bundle.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, Humble Bundle for me has been kind of my way to play PC games, and because I don't have a Steam account yet. Again, doesn't really make sense. But but yeah, so the few that I found out, there's just been a few puzzler games that I had not heard of before that I got to play through this. Most of the games that are really good, I was kind of tipped off to ahead of time by somebody on the podcast. So, like for Penumbra, I believe was one that was kind of a surprise. I don't know if we had talked about that before, maybe.
No, Penumbra's fucking great.
Yeah, and then Braid, World of Goo, Limbo. I have Fez. I haven't played Fez yet, but Bastion was one that was kind of a surprise for me. What is it? Their mobile bundles. Ridiculous Fishing is one that you had mentioned before, but that was fun to play.
Yeah, so you're participating in this. Like, all of those are like major titles that you've gotten through this.
Yeah, and Papers, Please, and the outdoor section of Gone Home. At least I assume.
Everything before the house. The demo of Gone Home.
Yeah. But again, all of those things I feel like I heard about ahead of time before it was on the bundle. But it was it was a good way to get a hold of those. And think about it: when you get a PC, you're going to have all these games to play. Yeah, where else can you buy a computer game through a donation to the EFF?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so have any of you, David or you, Ben, have you guys participated in any non-humble bundles? Because I have not.
I have not either.
Yeah.
What do you mean by non-humble bundles?
Like a singleton.
Yeah, like either that or oh my gosh, like a like the Indie Royale. Because like,
sorry, you cut out. Can you say again?
Yeah, like the Indie Royale bundle. Yeah. They use the metric system. No, like because I haven't, because
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, like it's out there, but I don't I don't recognize any of the games, which I know is terrible. It's like, it's like $5 for something, but a big part of these humble bundles is I kind of already want the games that are in them. I'm not like taking a flying leap of faith.
Yeah, it's like they usually have one hook, and then the rest is kind of goodies.
Yeah, the rest is gravy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That probably wouldn't be my thing, just because like I already tend to be kind of skeptical of indie games, and so just buying one that I'd never even heard of. Like there's a lot of weird indie games in the world, so that probably wouldn't be kind of my thing. Although I'm sure there are diamonds in the rough or whatever.
Huh. Yeah, it's pretty good rough. David, what finish us out with Murphs?
He did say diamonds in the rough, though. It's plural.
Yeah. No. I guess what I'm saying is, if the rough is indie games, which is the majority of what I've played, that's a pretty good rough, and so the diamonds must be pretty good.
Yeah.
I understand it's a matter of opinion.
Oh yeah, I meant more like when you're getting into like second tier like indie games you've never heard of before.
Oh yeah.
So.
What's
Murph says, Anodyne is a fantastic RPG. I 2 sittings, which I wouldn't have bought if not for Humble Bundle. It's really worth a play if you like a game with an atmosphere of mystery. Cube Tractor, by contrast, is a delightful puzzle game filled with whimsy and fun. The titular here... that doesn't even look like a word now that I read it.
Titular.
Like, I know it is, but...
Titular. Just say it in a way that'll make somebody giggle.
It's a fun word.
The titular hero pushes cubes through the world with infectious enthusiasm.
I like that. You can turn a phrase, man. I really want to play this game now. In fact, I just checked to see if I have it, and I do not. So, yeah.
I feel like just the name Cube Tractor on its own like promises good things.
Yeah. Oh shit! I forgot that I got and played and beat Lone Survivor on the bundle.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, like there we go. That totally justifies this entire experiment, because Lone Survivor's great. Yeah. Neat. Cool. So thank you everybody for writing in. If you would like to participate,
I believe we
have one more.
We do? Oh, did that just come in just under the wire?
Never mind. It was late. Don't read it.
Screw you, Chris. All right, I'll go ahead and read it. It's cool. Christopher Schlee writes in, and you just barely made it, saying, just a lot
2 minutes ago.
Just a lot of weird little puzzly platformers, like The Bridge and Snapshot. Nothing big or amazing, but I've had a lot of fun playing through them. And they never really garnered a lot of attention other than just having them in the download for me. Yeah. I heard about The Bridge. They did The Bridge on Video Games Hot Dog as an assignment. I remember them not being too incredibly impressed, but their description of it was enough to make me interested, at least. But yeah, puzzle platformers, that is a lot of what exists. All right then.
I was trying desperately to think of another game on the Humble Bundle. It was like a turn-based game where you had cubes and you sent them to work in different buildings, but I forgot the name of it. But that was another delightful discovery.
Rim Capsule?
That's the one.
There we go. Yeah. No wonder it didn't jump right to mind. It is a crazy made-up word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. All right. So this has been the multiplayer. Check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/thelevelpodcast. Usually on Tuesday afternoons, Dennis is so kind as to put up a prompt, and you all are so kind as to respond.
The grind.
It is now time for the grind, where we actually talk about the games we've been playing. Not that crazy brief where I sometimes say we talk about the games we've been playing. Sorry, I'm losing my voice because it has been an incredibly long weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're losing sleep because it has been a long weekend as well.
Yes. Oh, I am falling apart, gentlemen. Yeah, so does anybody want to volunteer to go first? David, you were not here last week, so I'm going to throw off to you.
Does anyone want to volunteer?
I'm not sure you understand how volunteering works.
Yeah, I volunteer you to do it. Does anybody want to volunteer? Yes, I volunteer, David, go.
Okay, fair enough. Last week, the midweek madness for week before, was on Steam was Abyss Odyssey. I don't know. Have you guys seen this sale?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? No.
All right, it's basically more or less a procedurally generated kind of Metroidvania game. However, it's kind of its gameplay hook. It's semi-roguelike. Very, very roguelite. You basically, if you die, I guess I should back up. The plotline is that there's a evil warlock buried under the earth under Chile, and
delicious.
Yes, Chile, the country, and he's asleep, and his prayers are becoming reality and resulting in like monsters traveling up through an abyss to invade the country of Chile.
Okay.
And so you have to travel down into the abyss through various levels and eventually reach the warlock and kill him. But it's roguelike in that once you die, you have to start all over at the top. But you keep all of your money and experience, so it's not exactly roguelike.
It's Rogue Legacy.
Right. Rogue Legacy, although much more like the only thing you really lose is physically your progress and your any items. So it's much more forgiving. But yes. Mm-hmm. But kind of its big stick is it uses instead of being a real basic like single attack platformer the way most like Spelunky or Castlevania is, it uses a kind of Super Smash Bros. And not Brothers inspired combat system.
That's a little bit of why I didn't point it out, because I knew you guys would dig in. So
I'm sorry. So yeah, so it uses that combat system where it's basically you have a single attack button, and a single special button. And your moves change based on what direction you push.
Uh-huh.
So it's overall it's this is one of those games I'm kind of glad I'm not doing video game review, because I have to say like overall the gameplay is kind of like clunky and I'm not sure that great, but I really more want to talk about all of the awesome things it does.
Yeah. Which
are the whole thing's done in like an Art Nouveau style graphics.
Yeah, it's incredibly ornate.
Yeah, I mean it's really well done. It's that way the entire way through. Does a real good job of pulling in some of Castlevania does with the interesting backdrops and the the different various platforms, and just having a real interesting world to run through and just weird enemies to fight.
There's a great quote on the game's Wikipedia page. It was from a review done by Hardcore Gamer that likens the art style to playing a Grateful Dead album cover.
Yes. It tends to. I'm assuming this is the influence of Chile. Because that's both where the game's set and where the developers are from. It's the same people that did Xenoclash.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of kind of what I kind of describe as like Day of the Dead style skeletons.
I'm listening.
One of the say that again?
I'm listening.
Yeah, one of the procedurally generated things you can get is just there's this like skeleton dude like strumming a guitar and speaks in rhyme, and you can basically pay him to give you advice, and it'll just give you some sort of cryptic piece of advice and you get some experience. So it's it's just all things like money may not be divine, but it can accomplish miracles. Like just weird, like vaguely wise man.
David, this sounds like a treasure. It's a skeleton who plays guitar and speaks in riddles.
Exactly. So, similarly, there's a demon violinist. There's a lot of just weird stuff, and that's actually kind of the other thing that I really like. Is it's all based on Chilean folklore. Mm-hmm. Which is something I didn't really have any experience with before, and is actually pretty awesome.
I am so tired of games being based on games being based on Tolkien, Blade Runner, and Chilean folklore.
Right.
Just grow a brain.
So I think my favorite so far is apparently in Chilean folklore. There's a type of witch that can it's a woman who can turn into a bird and like fly around and deliver messages for a wizard or whatever. But in order to do so, she has to first vomit out all her internal organs into a container, so she can then be a bird, and then she consumes them again to become a person.
Yeah, it's just dead weight when you're flying around.
Well, yeah, I really like the logic that went into that, like, woman magically turns into bird? Yeah, that seems plausible. But, dude, violating conservation mass? That should be science.
Yeah. I like the tacit assumption that birds don't have organs.
Right. So, yeah. So the whole thing, it's just... Like I said, I can't. It's one of those games that I can't exactly say is a good game, but I'm glad I played it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you said midweek madness at the beginning of this. Is this some kind of Steam sorcery?
Yeah. Basically, usually something like Tuesday through Thursday, they'll have some deal of the week or like 5 deals of the week because Steam just. It's kind of an excuse to throw around discounts.
Yeah, because games are free. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. That's what was. So I mean, I think it's like regularly for $14 though. So it's not an expensive game, and as far as I can tell, I mean, it's very much a game that it was priced indie style, and I think on the whole, I think it's definitely worth it if you're willing to just play the game because you want to see kind of this interesting, creative world.
Yeah, that is Abyss Odyssey, and it's on it's on PC. I'm trying to do that more. I'm trying to remind people of what we talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's also on like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It sounds good. I mean, like if you're enjoying it in spite of clunkiness, like it is possible to like something even though you recognize that there are bad things about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where I don't know. Maybe this is me being a bad consumer or whatever, but like I'm very much like it's a developer I like that does good things, and it's obvious there's a lot of game mechanics in it that like it's obvious they're trying to do cool stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're along for the ride. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, I'm still plunking away at Borderlands 2 despite swearing it off.
Yeah,
so,
you were like on the edge last time too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Where are you at
like
right now?
I still maintain. I still very strongly feel that it has some significant flaws in how it presents the game. But I mean, there's a good game in there. So I just had the return of Brick, and now I'm going to apparently become Handsome Jack.
Okay.
So. Yep.
Cool. All right. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, so as we kind of alluded to earlier, I was on vacation this last week, but I was still able to squeeze in some video games via retro form.
Nice.
So one of the things I did last week is went to the retro gaming convention in Portland, and so we got to go to the arcades that they had set up there.
Yeah.
So they have a retro arcade set up where it's just old-fashioned arcade machines that you can sit and play at. There's like Pac-Man machines that you can literally sit at. Other ones you have to stand and play. You know?
Yeah. I love those cocktail machines.
Ooh, wait, what?
That's what those are called. Like when you sit
okay.
down and look at a screen that's inside the thing, it's a cocktail
Okay.
machine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did not know that term. So that was cool. In addition to that, I went to Ground Control, which is their barcade that they have there, which has additional arcade machines and pinball machines there as well.
Yeah.
So both of those were fun. In addition to that, one of the highlights of the Retro Gaming Expo is I got to play some Halo 2, which is now considered a retro game. So
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, whatever. We're all getting old.
So that's
and everybody who's listening to this, knowing that we are all between 26 and 27, is like groaning. Well, like, yeah, just like, well, whatever. Like retro, just it is a very loose and broad categorization. Sorry, Ben. Go on.
No, yeah, I was not aware of classification of retro games before going here, but apparently there's a one console breathing room between retro and current, So like PS4 current, PS3 last gen, PS2 retro. Yeah. Anything before that retro.
Yeah.
But then there's a classic line as well, right?
Yeah. And so what's funny is like, and I'm going to interrupt your story here to hop on my soapbox about a very particular kind of weirdo.
Okay.
Sorry. Which is like when we set up the booth, the booth for Watch Out for Fireballs, and somebody comes up and asks us like, hey, what's this about? And we say, oh, we're a retro games podcast, and they say, like what do you guys talk about? Like, well, anything from like NES up through like Xbox or whatever. And they say retro NES, that's new. And it's almost always, and then from there the conversation almost always goes directly to Donkey Kong. So there are people walking around whose entire conception of video games begins and ends with Donkey Kong, and they will often talk your ear off about Donkey Kong, and that is that is exactly it. So any definition of retro games that does not begin and end with Donkey Kong is not retro enough for some people. Therefore, it is worthless to try and quibble about any other specifics about it.
The retro hipsters.
Yeah.
Does it seem a little bit like also, a game? It seems to me like a game that was particularly, I don't know, like popular and kind of, I guess it seems to me like a game like Halo 2, like to me almost seems retro just because like it's so fixed in time that like people who played Halo 2 very much, probably played that at a very specific time in their lives, things so it's easier to look back at that and think of it as retro in a way that maybe other like Xbox games you would not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's weird. So it was 8 to 10 years ago is when Halo 2 was out and played.
It came out 10 years ago, like almost to the day. No, it came out November 4th of 2004. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm fine with saying that that's retro. I can get along with that.
Like a decade.
Yeah.
You can have a worse definition than a decade. I'm sorry to have interrupted you.
No, it's fine. But I did not know this. I did not know about these classifications before attending this expo. But
so here's my other question. Was anybody but me talking about these classifications? Because we talked about it at the bar. We talked about it at karaoke. And I was in my cups, so I was probably being like way too declarative. Also, it was November 9th, not November 4th. But, yeah, so I was probably talking very loudly about the criteria that we use on Watch Out for Fireballs, and I don't want you to mistake that for anything anybody else actually believes.
Okay.
We call it blue core syndrome.
I'm classifying it as that because those were the consoles available at the convention to play.
Okay, cool, right? Cool.
So that's kind of like an objective classification, you know, or like they're kind of setting the ground rules for what's retro since it's a retro convention, you know.
Well, I swear we've had this conversation in the past, but haven't we discussed like modern games that are retro style would also be at this convention, correct?
I mean, like there are indie devs who are set up there, like who probably derive from an older style or sensibility, like a lot of indie games do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I don't know if they would be classified as retro.
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't fit within the taxonomy. They just happen to be a part of the gaming culture in Portland.
It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, but it's also welcome because it's like a really cool and inclusive place. And like other than those Donkey Kong weirdos, nobody's running around saying this doesn't belong here.
Yeah, and there was a stand like that too, where it was like game developers, and so they only had like kind of mechanic demos, pretty much.
Oh, are you talking about The Moon is Dying and So Will You?
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
The one I played was like kind of like a platformer, but it was one where you could like push people off the platforms.
Oh, Killer Queen.
That might have been it. Yeah. We'll go with that.
You just want to talk about Halo 2 so bad.
I do want to circle back to that.
Okay. Well, I want you to get there. I'm keeping you from getting there. Go ahead.
It was a lot of fun playing it because it was so much like a time capsule, man. Hadn't played it in like 8 years or so it's weird to go back to a video game after that much space in between. So it was a lot of fun. Way floaty though. The controls are like after playing like Modern Warfare 2, in between that period of time, like it seems so sluggish in comparison, But no, it was totally a lot of fun. I played with two people who I think were pretty younger than I was. I don't know if they played the game in its original form when it came out. Like that's about their age, but I mean, so this is a very hollow brag or whatever. But
kick their asses.
I still got it, dude. I still have my skill. But it is a super hollow brag. But anyway. But no, it was super fun to revisit that though. So I had a good time with that. Nice. And then in addition, I played some Smash Brothers with one of my other friends who was at the convention, Perk, and some other just random people who were at the arcade. And so that was a lot of fun as well. Nice. And then on top of that, the person who I was visiting, also Perk, in Portland, we played a cooperative game of Donkey Kong Country 2 and got about 2/3, 3/4 of the way through that game. Yeah. So
you guys dug in.
Yeah, it was a retro week, man.
Nice.
Okay, so this is the most like this is a very memento like conversation, but what's the difference between retro and classic then?
I have no idea. I really think That is where my taxonomy breaks down. I think classic is probably approaching some kind of canon. Like I would call Super Mario Brothers classic, whereas Ice Brothers would probably be retro.
Okay.
Or, Ice Climbers, not Ice Brothers. Ice Brothers was the Soviet knockoff. Yeah, Ice Bros. Ice Bros, Icing Bros.
Ice Bros, Icing Bros.
Ice Bros, Ice Bros.
Oh.
What about, so would you also include, like, games like Chrono Trigger, stuff like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just because, like, I feel like there's a definite difference in that, say, like, Super Mario Bros. Is classic.
So you're doing it. You're saying Super Mario Bros.
The lines have been drawn, Cole.
To people who aren't video game nerds, whereas I feel like something like Chrono Trigger is definitely classic if you are into video games.
I don't know that's weird because I think the more recent you get, the dicier it becomes to call something classic. Why are we so hung up on taxonomy? Did I do this to us?
It's all your fault, Cole.
We learned it by watching you. I don't know.
And then one last thing I want to squeeze in about the convention is they were filming a World Tetris tournament there.
Yeah.
And so I briefly stopped and watched that, even though I didn't play it. But it was cool to watch people play that. And then also to see there was like a tournament going on, and those people looked pretty good. But then there were people like playing surrounding the tournament, and they looked like savant level good, where they were playing like 9-on-9, where it's like level 9, speed 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool to watch too.
Yeah. Were you there? This might have been Sunday. In fact, I know for a fact it was Sunday. But the DJ, the guy who was announcing over the PA for the entire thing, like talking. I would argue way too much. It's easy to backseat, to like the backseat drive, especially when you do broadcast. But
was this for the entire hall or for the tournament section specifically?
This was for the entire hall. Okay. I don't know. Like I think maybe the tournament had their own, announcement crew or whatever. But this guy, he announced the wrong winner. He was like, I hate to blow up his spot because I don't mean to talk shit, but God damn it, he said, everybody in this convention, give it up for the new Tetris World Champion, Bobby so and so. And like as everybody, clap, 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 clap. And he started playing "We Are the Champions," and then it got like 1.5 verses in, and then he cuts back in saying, "My apologies. Bobby so and so is actually the person who just lost his X number of years title. The actual winner is Joey such and such. Everybody give a hand to Joey such and such." And then he picked up right where he left off, and "We Are the Champions." And everybody was like,
didn't even start it.
Like it was such a far less. It was such a less enthusiastic applause because of the fuck up. It was like I was mortified for both of the for everybody involved. Nobody came out of it looking good.
Yeah.
One, to be fair, if your name is Johnny such and such, you need all the applause you can get.
It is a bad last name, such and such.
Yeah, get that fixed. There are legal channels. If you're old enough to play Tetris, you're old enough to get your name changed.
There were similar. Well, there was bad commentary within the tournament section where it would be like he would be talking to the people as they were playing the game. They'd be like, "Uh-oh, this person has a lot of ground to make up," as he walked by their screen. And then when somebody would win, it would be like, "How does it feel to be the winner?" Like in front of the two people, And it's just like, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, although I feel like now that it has horrible commentary, I can maybe more accept it as being a legitimate sport.
Yeah.
Because have you ever watched like the commentary or the interviews they do after, say, like an MMA fight?
No.
I mean, literally, you an entire sport around getting punched in the face, and then you like immediately after 15 minutes of that walk up to someone and start asking them like, so what was your strategy? How did you win? Like, well, if what would you have done differently? Well, I probably would have gone punched less. That would have been my my better plan.
Yeah, if I had my druthers.
Sorry.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. Ben, what did you think of Ground Control?
It was cool. I liked it. Beer and video games is a good combination.
I agree.
Definitely.
Some of their machines were out at that time because they had moved them to the Retro Gaming Expo.
Yeah, they're a big donor of machines for the events.
Okay. But no, the tables were super cool. The bathrooms were super cool.
Yeah.
Beer selection could have been a little bit better. I'll go ahead and say it. But the Pac-Man table was awesome. The four-player Pac-Man.
I love that game.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So it definitely has potential. I still think Barcade might be a touch better in NYC. But,
like Ground Control is an institution, and I've really enjoyed the time that I've been there. It seems like every time I go back, it gets more and more cramped and crowded. Mm-hmm. Like in terms of just the machines are way too close together, and there are like a lot of people there. Like kind of no matter what time I'm there, it gets pretty rough. And so I immediately they just announced like a 4,300 foot barcade coming to Cincinnati here in the over the Rhine, and there's already a Risconi Pizza, which I desperately need to go to and check out. I need to go there on a fact finding mission for a possible meetups in the area. But I understand that space is at a premium in Portland. Maybe space is not at as much of a premium here. Hopefully that means it doesn't have to be a it doesn't have to be a claustrophobic nightmare. How does the density of Barcade compare to the density of Ground Control?
They're similar. The reason why I like Barcade more is just the game selection. There's a lot more games that I had never played before.
Oh, yeah.
And the location of the beer rest, where it's just like a wooden plank drilled into the side of the arcade machine instead of the metal rings on top of the machine.
Yeah.
Just little things.
Man, but Ground Control has Rampart, and that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Rampart.
True.
Rampart's pretty good.
So, I'm kind of curious. Are they still making arcade machines? It seems like I hear about arcades are dead. Those were something from our childhood. Let's make BuzzFeeds about them. Mm-hmm. But then it seems like I also hear about a lot of really, really awesome arcades. Just now they have alcohol.
Yeah, I think that is an accurate assessment of what's happening. I thought your question was going to be how are they finding all these machines for arcades? It's just that there are fewer places to put them. I guess than there were.
Is this all just are they still developing arcade? Is there still a arcade game industry for actually making these games?
It's mostly Fast and Furious. It sounds like I'm joking. It's mostly Fast and Furious racing cabinets and upright standing versions of iOS apps like Fruit Ninja and shit.
They got to be making more Time Crisis games, right?
Not that I've seen.
Never dies.
So I think that the reason we see a lot of those around, like any arcade machine around, is because the second the tap was turned off on them, a very dedicated set of nerds with a lot of money started, pooling their efforts to try and keep them maintained and extant, right? So they're probably going around and rescuing them from laundromats. Mm-hmm. And trying to make sure they get into good homes, i.e. homes that are willing to pay a lot of money to have them.
I've never really thought of barcades as a pet shelter, sort of thing. That analogy.
A little bit. I mean, you just.
Oh yeah, I would say I think I would almost compare them to some of the more labor of love, some of the organic food stores and some of those sorts of things, the real niche-y, Yeah, you know, kind of what I mean.
I get real worried because when they start coming to Cincinnati, like it starts becoming like evident that it's a little bit of a fad. Like they see the success of places like, what is it, that Galloping Ghost out in Chicago, and Barcade and all this. Like, okay, this is something viable. But the problem is in major cities where there are a lot of young transplants, that can possibly work. Cincinnati is a place where people transplant out of. Like these smaller kind of B-tier cities are not generally destinations for like a large amount of nerds. And I kind of worry because anybody who signs up for this, just putting one wherever there's a vacuum for them, they might just be signing up to do a double whammy of businesses that are bound to fail, both arcades and bars, right? Like it is a terrible idea to open a bar, and it's a terrible idea to open an arcade. But if you put them together, yeah.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. Like, I want to be hopeful. Like, I would love for there to be a place that I could go like every other week to like buy a beer and play some fucking Galaga. Like that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Like a place that isn't goddamn Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they have House of the Dead, I can shoot some zombies. I will be a regular customer.
Yeah,
so I have a question. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
How would you feel about like an emulator barcade that would have like free cabinets and it had like a plethora of games? Do you think that would take away the magic?
I don't know. I would certainly feel a little less good about going to it because like part of me really likes the artifact. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, this is an actual thing, and I understand that is secondary to the actual game unless you're talking about something like, oh, Marble Madness. This requires a trackball, and so are they just going to have all the trackball games over here? Like, I don't know, but that seems like it would be a little bit of an artificial experience, which is totally unreasonable.
What if they simply? Would you be fine with if they recreated all that, but it was an original machine?
I mean, if they tried to make it feel as...
it's like what they do with jeans. They'll just put new arcade machines in a tumbler with rocks.
Yeah. So what you guys are doing, essentially, is like thought experiments on Kole's arcade preferences.
Yeah.
Like, it's the Chinese room, except it's the Chinese arcade. Like, okay, so if you were just looking through a little slot at what you thought was an arcade machine, and it convinced you that it was real, is it real? I don't fucking know. Is it Galaga? Is it Marble Madness?
No, I'm just saying, like, if they, actually had an upright machine, had the art, stuff like that, but it wasn't, but it was on the internal. It was, I don't know, a colony of Raspberry Pis emulating a whatever box.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Like, I don't know. I'm fine. Okay, so like I'm fine with the Nintendo Play choice, right? Like that is a cool arcade machine because people can hack it so that Princess Pauline rescues Mario and Donkey Kong, right? Like that is a cool machine that effectively does exactly what you guys are describing, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Like it is a bunch of games inside of one thing. Like, so I think of a bar like so if it was a bar that was just full of MAME cabinets, that is a little bit lame because I immediately jump to, well, I could probably make that at home. Like if I was sufficiently, if I had, let's say, $1,200 to spare, and that is a really generous thing. I could build a MAME cabinet, with a Raspberry Pi inside of it, or more likely a Mac Mini or whatever inside of it, and get a kegerator and just do that at home. Whereas except without
I'm
all
not
the
hearing
people.
any reason not to do that at home so far.
Sounds like you're arguing for us instead of against us.
Yeah. but I guess like a big building that I go to and pay $6 a beer, to do that. It seems a little, I don't know, it seems a little weird to me. That, keeping the intellectual property issues aside, like I understand that, if I bought if I bought a Rampart machine from somebody, none of that money would go to Johnny Atari. It would go to whoever sold me that Rampart machine. But a business that is predicated on downloading a shitload of ROMs, it feels a little gross.
Okay. See, I would assume if you did that, you'd like buy the games on Steam or
I don't know. This is a weird conversation. I'm not mad that we're having it. It's just a strange line of thought.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know. Part of why I was kind of wondering is like to what degree do we need these sorts of companies to basically be museums?
I think it is a cool side effect of it because when you go and you see here's what this Paperboy machine feels like with its handlebars and everything. Like, it does act as a certain kind of preservation, and it's not pure preservation because suspended above those handlebars is an IPA and probably a cigarette. Like, these are things that will, they destroyed these machines back then, and they will sure as shit destroy them now. Like, it serves a dual purpose. And for me to say, I could get the same thing at home with $1,200, a kegerator, and a MAME machine. Well, no, I couldn't because, a good place like Ground Control cultivates, a crowd, a scene, an atmosphere, none of which, I can get at home,
Right. I guess what I'm saying, though, is it's not a thing where, like, these could be games where at some point it could be hard to ever play them.
Yeah.
Where if the machines all got broken, that would be a problem. I guess is kind of what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not, it's not the same way. Like them, upkeeping these machines is not necessarily the same as like an art museum doing upkeep on art.
Yeah. Well, there's maintenance and stuff. Like especially with pinball, that gets a little bit hairy. Like they run around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, pinball is different because you can't emulate pinball.
Right. Not as satisfyingly. I mean, if Dennis was here, he would probably make a case for the Zen pinball. But I say
emulate, I mean like I can build an arcade box that is, from a gameplay standpoint, identical, whereas pinball is innately a physical thing.
Yeah.
So unless you're talking about, say, like Operation Wolf or something where you have like the mounted gun, if you're talking about something that just has like a joystick and buttons, I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I played Operation Wolf over the weekend.
Nice.
Where you do a whole bunch of shooting at people in the foreground. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun.
It has that awesome scream sound effect. Yeah.
I don't think I heard that.
Yeah, it's a pretty great one. It's like the Wilhelm scream, but it's a little bit more panicked. Man, I played a shitload of Operation Wolf. We had a restaurant in Ontario, Ohio, called The Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And for a good, it was like a diner kind of place where you would get those styrofoam cups with the pictures of the mountains on the side of it, and you would go inside and they would have an Operation Wolf machine, and I would just feed that thing quarters after I rode there on my bike with my root beer float. Good times.
That's dangerous biking right there.
What? all clopsy on root beer floats?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why would you take a root beer float to the place that serves like ice cream and root beer floats?
You ever seen how much like how much they charge for root beer floats at the Warrior? Still open, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's exorbitant. So I take a pocket full of ice cream. I take a pocket full of root beer. I mix them up a little courtesy cup, and I'm good to go. Oh man. Yeah. I had something I was going to lead off of that with, but so like for preservation's sake, it's this is a cool thing about these retro game shows, specifically Portland and then what the Asymmetric guys. Zach, Wes, and Rachel are doing with ZapCon. Out in Arizona. Like ZapCon is, to my understanding, I would desperately like to go one day. It is like the free play portion of Portland Retro Games Expo, where they just get a hotel convention center room together with all these donor machines, charge entrance and go in and play it. So it's like a regular thing once a year where you just go in and play all these arcade and pinball games, and it is all about that. Like I don't know, it's heartening to see these things popping up, even if Portland is. I think Portland is the biggest retro game show now.
Wow.
Like it used to be Las Vegas, and now it's Portland. So, yeah. Yeah, well, I'm happy that you got to spend like the weekend playing some old games. When you played Donkey Kong, was that at Perk's house, or was this at the at the show?
This was at Perk's house.
Oh, cool.
It was good. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, we're running up on time. I'm going to do my last one real quick. Did you have anything else, Ben?
Nope, that's all.
Cool. So I've been too busy this past week, traveling and also doing the show. But here tonight, I have been playing The Silent Age, Episode 2.
What is this?
Okay, so this is an iOS adventure game. The first episode of it came out, I want to say like a year and a half ago. I believe we talked about it on the level. And the second episode just came out here recently. So they put out episode 1, and they were like, "Hey, we've got a goal. Like when we get this much funding, we will publish episode 2 and finish up this story." And they had like a little PayPal link up. And they got to a certain point, and a publisher came in and said, "Hey, we'll match everything they had, and we'll get this thing out there so you can actually finish this up because we believe in what you're doing." It's made by a company called House on Fire Games. They're based out of when something is Danish, that is from Denmark. Yes. Okay, cool. So they're based out of Denmark, and so
wait a minute, what just happened?
Dutch is the Netherlands.
Yes.
Is that what you're confusing it with?
Yes, that is exactly what I was confusing it with. Which one is like a donut but with no hole? That's a Danish. Okay, cool.
Right, the Dutch are from Dutchland, right?
Yes, from Dutchistan. Yeah, but I don't remember giving them money on their PayPal. That might have been one of Cole's late night dalliances. I'm not sure.
I sleep by games.
But I think that I played the first episode of it. Okay, so this is the best I can assume. I don't know how much money I gave them, but I think that I played the first episode. I was curious about when the next one was coming out. I saw that they were looking for funding, and I liked it so much that I just gave them probably $5. And I got an email saying, "Hey, here's your code for this." A year and a half later. The same thing happened with Dreamfall chapters. I don't remember backing this Kickstarter, guys. But here it is in my Steam library.
So what you're saying is maybe someone stole your identity and he just happens to be a philanthropic gamer?
Yeah, like maybe he's just... Okay, somebody stole my identity and is buying me all the games I want. Yeah. So
Cole's id stored his identity.
Yeah.
This is Cole's version of Fight Club.
Yep. No wonder I'm so tired. When I thought I was asleep, I was just buying games. But yeah, so I haven't beaten it. I'm like on the very last chapter. I'll probably finish it off as I go to sleep tonight. But yeah, it's pretty good. So the premise, this is a point-and-click adventure game, or more aptly, because it is on a touch device, it is a tap-and-tap adventure game. And it's set in the 70s, and you're playing as kind of a janitor at this super science company. And it's not like in a Portal or Half-Life, haha, lol, for the sciences kind of thing. It's incredibly understated. It's got kind of this very absurdist, but not in a Douglas Adams way, more in a Kurt Vonnegut way, kind of sensibility to it. Mm-hmm. I think that what impresses me about it most consistently is how understated it is. The art style is very simple. It's not simplistic or childlike in any sense, but it is, kind of like vector, cutout, kind of pop art kind of things. And you're this guy who finds somebody, like an old man dying in a laboratory, and he gives you a little device that is a time machine, like it's like a keychain time machine, saying it's up to you to save the world. And the kind of the gameplay gimmick of this is that you can jump back and forth between 1972 and 2012, so 40 years difference. And in the present time, everything is as it was, and in the future, everybody is dead, and it's kind of like post-apocalyptic. and each individual area that you're in has two different versions. The everybody's alive and everything is intact version, and there are trees growing up through the floor, and everybody is skeletons.
There's both versions and both timelines?
Well, I mean, it's one timeline and then the other timeline. So, like a puzzle that I just solved, minor spoilers for a late game puzzle, there is a scientist who wants some fruit, except all that you have in this timeline is an apple core. And so you have to, using a leaky pipe, some soil, and an apple core, you plant it, and then you jump forward into the future where it is an apple tree that is growing out of a filing cabinet, and you grab that and take it back to them in order to get the thing that you need. Right?
Okay.
Because clearly they don't have Kroger's.
Well, yeah, but you're in this lab and you can't get out, and that's a little bit of a major complaint that I have with the game is that it's pretty standard adventure game kind of stuff, like, and I would even call it like maybe B-tiered adventure game. In a lot of degrees, like the chapters are very small. They're normally like 4 to 5 screens, and everything that you need is right there within grasp. And the only difficulty comes when you run up against the game developer's logic as opposed to yours. And to their credit, when you want to try something that looks like it's going to make some sense, they have clever dialogue to explain why it doesn't work.
Okay.
But what that also says is they acknowledge that it's crazy this doesn't happen when you do this thing. So they probably could have fixed it or designed around it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend playing this if you don't have a tolerance for puzzle-based point-and-click adventure games. And even if the time travel angle really excites you, there are games that do it better. Specifically, Been There, Dan That. And it was the sequel that did time travel, Time Gentlemen Please, which does that a lot better, I think. But still,
so would you say with these puzzles, do you eventually get kind of inside their head where you can start making informed decisions, or is it just try everything on the everything?
You get there, but it's mostly because there are so few, like there are so few objects for you to rub against each other that it never feels like something like a Mac Venture or a LucasArts game where just the possibility space is so wide. Like the most I've ever had in my inventory is like 3 items at a time.
Okay.
So like like any adventure game, you learn the developer's vocabulary, and that's pretty cool. The reason to play this is for the story, which is, pretty basic in terms of like time travel, save the world kind of things. Except I sense that there are like major twists coming up, all of which are probably pretty predictable. But the overall aesthetic and mood, like I said, understated before, and I think that it is kind of spread throughout. Like it's set in the 70s, your guy has like a rockin' stash, and like everything kind of feels like of a time and place. But I don't know, like nothing is like up in your face about it. It's very sedate. It's very kind of like distant and dreamlike in a way that is like really satisfying to me, as somebody who will, sit down and play something on their iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's on like iOS and Android and Kindle Fire and everything. Like it is extant, but like what I will say is I like this because I like point and click adventure games. And I don't know if I'd recommend it to somebody. Like, this wouldn't be a good first point-and-click adventure game, especially if you have access to those platforms and can get a hold of, like, the Monkey Island Special Edition,
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like my description of this is coming up short. Like, do you guys have questions about it?
Did you ever play The Cave?
Yes, I fucking love The Cave. It's great.
All right.
Didn't that have time travel?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, it did. One of the characters was the time traveler.
And so how did her specific mission, how does that compare with this game?
It's pretty similar. Like it's very much the same. Like you're only dealing with two, it's a toggle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the puzzles make a certain sense, and like the neat part about this is that you can kind of count on in the future everything is going to be a little bit more decrepit. So if there's a door that's way too strong, I can go there and get through it and then warp back on the other side of it. Whereas it's a little bit more difficult to get around in general because there are just more obstacles, right? And so that's a little bit of a wrinkle that I don't remember being especially present in the cave.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Like so I don't know enough about your guys' like gaming history to suppose or call out like a previous point and click adventure game that you have played to be like, oh, here this is. Is this a genre you guys have played before or enjoy? Like the story-based puzzle-based point and click adventure game.
Honestly, like I've done a smattering. Like I did a little bit of Loon. Never got anywhere because I didn't realize I was supposed to be playing the stupid stick. I got at least reasonably far in Freddy Farkas.
That's an obscure one.
Yeah,
you went from Loom to Freddy Farkas Frontier Pharmacist, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
I actually did a fair amount of the Dinotopia game.
Huh.
So, but none of these where I say like I really got into. It's kind of a genre that I think's interesting, but I've sort of missed.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
I do have a soft spot in my heart for the Are You Afraid of the Dark game from like the 90s, because that was a nice point and click adventure, and I played all the way through that multiple times.
We have so many people requesting that on Abject Suffering right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, as like the worst game ever?
That show has morphed into just like, hey, check out this weird thing. I would love to play it. Like, I need to find a way to get that to launch because I'm very curious about it now, especially now that it has your blessing.
Seal of approval. My 8-year-old Ben seal of approval. Yeah.
What is what is the story with this, I guess?
With Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Or just like in general, like I never saw the show. Like I'm just kind of interested, kind of like what is the story like? Why?
The show is just
awesome?
Campfire stories.
Yeah,
but the computer games where it takes place like in a magic theater and there's like a crazy magician running it, and you get chased by cavemen. So there you go.
Specifically. Oh gosh, Are You Afraid of the Dark is Canadian Tales from the Crypt for little kids that was aired on like Nickelodeon. Yeah, like on Friday nights on the SNCC block of programming. Yeah. So it is like,
is this like legitimate like horror TV or
to children?
Yeah. It got spooky. Like I enjoyed it a lot for its spookitude. I would watch it with friends and hide in my sleeping bag and such.
That would be a great game to play for Halloween. Super spooky.
We already did Fester's Quest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we doing did we have something planned for Halloween shenanigans and monkey shines?
I know that you alluded to something, Ben.
Did I?
Yeah. But I don't know if you remember that or not.
I do not.
It's cool. No press. No press, low press. Right?
It was actually Ben's spooky doppelganger alluding to things for him.
It's Ben's spooky doppelganger. Boone. Boone Merkill. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. Yeah. So adventure games, it is hard to continue liking them, outside of a historical context because their flaws are so glaringly apparent. However, I will always have a little bit of a soft spot for them because I love story-based games, and they have consistently been a stalwart for that.
See, I don't know. I sort of feel like I would like to see a developer or whatever try to make one of these games and keep like the craziness of it, but make them less, modernize, try to make that craziness less annoying, if that makes sense.
You're pretty much describing the cave, like making an adventure game that has a platform kind of base to it.
Okay. Because I will say my closest, I've played enough adventure games, basically I've played enough adventure games to enjoy MS Paint Adventures. Is basically where I'm at.
Yeah.
But
you guys want to button it up?
It's about that time.
Yeah. This has been the level number 80 to be exact. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody who's listening, and thank you, Ben, and thank you, David. And shame on you.
Welcome.
Shame on you, Dennis, for having to attend to your child.
How unselfish/selfish of you.
To your fussy boy. Such a fussy boy. Ben, you said something about a karaoke anecdote, which eludes me. The entire night was legendary, but I was curious if there was a specific thing that you had.
For which part?
No, like at the beginning when we were kind of billboarding everything, you mentioned that you had a retro game memory and a karaoke memory. And I want to exclude everybody who wasn't there.
Oh, I see. Sorry, David. Maybe next year. No. I mean, it was all around just a great night.
Yeah.
I really like singing the Pixies and Hey Jude, and
yeah. We finish out the night with Hey Jude. I was about to say every year, but what I meant to say was both years we've done it. So, yeah. Cool. So things you can do for the show. You can like us on Facebook and leave us a rating or review on iTunes. I haven't checked the ratings or reviews recently, but they really do help us out. So if you have not done that, I know we talk about it often, but consider doing it. It only takes a moment of your time if you already have an iTunes account. And I fully understand if you don't want to enter into the iTunes ecosystem to do so. You can find other ways, such as donating to our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. And then also telling a friend. I'm running out of steam so quickly that I don't know if there's anything else. Am I missing anything, guys?
Sleep.
Yeah.
No.
I think I'm missing sleep. Cool. So I have been Kole Ross. I am at Kole Ross on Twitter.
I've been David Moneysmith. I've been at Moneysmith777 on Twitter.
I'm Ben Merkel. I've been at Merkelizer on Twitter.
Yeah. And stick around after the little outro for the Easter egg where we talk about what the title's going to be, because there's some doozies. All right, guys, we have 4 options.
What do we got?
Okay. Threestyle.
It's a good one.
Birds don't have organs. Ice Bros icing Ice Bros. Let's make BuzzFeeds about them.
I gotta go with Ice Bros icing Ice Bros.
See,
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards birds don't have organs.
That's a pretty good absurdist one.
Yeah.
I feel which one would make a better someday?
Threestyle's good too.
Yeah, I think so. I think Threestyle is more appropriate for the episode because we'll remember. Oh, that's the one that we did with just the 3 of us.
We can make it if we try.
For as much as I agree with you that Ice Bros icing Ice Bros is funny. I think that because of the dated reference, it might take a little bit of a backseat to Threestyle.
Yeah, and it's too obvious.
Yeah, Threestyle is good. I think let's make it Threestyle.
I'm down with that.